One of my goals this year is to organize every photo and video I've taken over the last 17 years. Now, my main problem with that is I don't have a computer that has that much storage to be able to quickly sort them all. So today we're going to be using the UGREEN NAS DH2300. This is able to have up to 60 terabytes of storage where I can then easily organize and store all of my footage there. A huge thank you to UGREEN for sponsoring this video. Today we're going to talk about how I'm going to do that and then some other benefits that you can use with the UGREEN NAS. Now, previously I reviewed the DH4300 Plus and showed all the different things that you can do with that. So we're gonna cover a little bit of that, but I'm gonna talk about other things that you're able to do with the UGREEN NAS system. So let's go ahead and get this set up. Now, everything you see here on the desk is included. We have a power supply, we have screws for our drives, a screwdriver, you get an Ethernet cable, as well as the NAS. You do not get storage drives. So there's a wide range of drives that are supported. So here they sent over 2 Iron Wolf 4 terabyte drives that we're going to be using. So this is going to be 8 terabytes I'm gonna add to this, but again, you could add up to 60 terabytes. So taking a quick look at the box here, you can see that 60 terabytes would be 62 million documents, 40,000 movies, and 20 million images. I think that's definitely going to be enough for what we're going to be using it for today, but I'm really excited to see how this can be utilized to help me organize all of my digital life. Taking a look at the DH2300, here we have the 2 different bays for the drives. On the front here, you do have a USB 3.2 USB-C drive. On the back here, we have 2 USB 3.2. We have the LAN cable, we have HDMI, which is 4K. So you can actually plug this into the back of your TV and use this as your media streamer for any movies that you have stored on here. And then you have the power supply right there. So let's go ahead, get the drives connected into these slots and then get it set up in the app. And this does support drives that are 3.5 inch, which I'm using now, or 2.5 inch. So we're just going to make sure that we have our ports down here and then screw them in. Now we're going to slide the drives into the slots, snap them into place, put on the cover. I've now plugged in the Ethernet cable directly into a switch that's connected to my router. Then I'm going to put in the power. Now all we need to do is connect via NFC. There's a little NFC tag right here. I'm just going to put my phone on there and it's going to take me right to the UGREEN NAS app or to download it if I don't have it already. And now we're going to press the power button to turn this on and wait for it to initialize. And then we're going to set it up through the app. And here we should see some white flashing lights. If you're seeing red, that means the drives aren't being recognized, but here these look good. I just heard a beep that it's ready to go. So here we're going to tap and we can see the 2 different NAS devices that I have. And right here, this one needs to be registered on my LAN. So I'm gonna go ahead and register it. Here we can give it a name. And then we're going to set up an administration account. So I have mine that I'm just going to log into. And then you want to bind this to an email address. This gives you access anytime, anywhere, and you can receive instant notifications. So we're going to add that. It has now initialized, so we can just go into here. We can then log in. And now we can start using our NAS. So now that we're in the app, the first thing we're going to do is set up how this is going to work. Now, in the previous video, I mentioned how you can set up RAID. RAID is where it takes one of the drives and you use that as storage and then it copies everything to the other drive. And I said it's a backup. Apparently that's wrong. It's not a backup, but it is a copy of the one drive. So you don't get full access to both the drives, but one of them is a copy in case one of them fails, you still have all access to your files. So here we can go in and choose how this is going to work. Here we can select both drives. And if you select one, you get just the basic options. But if we select 2, we now have the option to do a JBOD, or we can do the RAID 0 or the RAID 1. So depending on what you choose, this is how much storage you're going to have. So here on JBOD, it shows data protection. But if one drive gets damaged, then data on that drive will be permanently lost. So you have no access to that anymore, but it's a protected drive. So again, I'm not an expert on this, but here we have RAID 0. So that means there's no copy of one of the drives. So you get the full 7.2 terabytes, which is plenty for my photos and videos I want to sort through. And then here we have RAID 1, where it is going to use one of the drives to have all your storage, and then it's going to copy that drive so that you then have it accessible in case one of them fails. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do the RAID 1 because I wanna make sure that I have a copy in case anything happens to these files. So here it's showing what that's going to look like. and we're going to select next. And you have one more file system option there. Going to tap continue, and this will then make hard drive 2. So anything that was on there, if I haven't formatted those drives, it will format them as well. And now we're going to enter a password to complete that. And now it's going through and creating that drive. The drive has now been initialized, and we have a couple more things we need to do before this is going to work. Next, we need to create our first folder. So I went through the steps to do that, and now we can load files onto that folder. And then here it says we need to learn more about remote access. And here you can go to this link to then access it remotely, which is great that you can continue to use it even if you are away from home. And then if we go into the files here, we now have that first folder that we have created, and I can quickly add stuff. Now, one thing I want to do is make sure that I talk about the differences between this and the D4300 Plus that I talked about before, because there are a few different things you can do on each. So over on this side, we have the DH4300 Plus, and then over here on this side, we have the DH2300. So everything looks very similar, but if we head into the App Center, this is where you will notice some differences. So here as we're going through, you can see that many of the apps are the same, but some are different. So here we have this utility right here that's a little bit different. Scrolling down, you don't see that. Then here we have another one. We have this utility, we have the QBitTorrent, and then a few more. We have the Open List that's different, the Online Office, and then down here we have Jellyfin, Home Assistant, Firefox that are only on the DH4300 Plus. And then we have the Easy NVR, the Docker, and that's pretty much it. So if you are looking to do the Docker where you can add a bunch of different things, with Docker, I was able to add Matter support and Home Assistant. So if you want something like that, definitely check out my other video at the end of this to see how I set that up. But on this device, you won't be able to have those extra smart home features, but there's still plenty of other things that you can do. Let's go ahead and start getting our data over here. Now, the first way I could do that is simply take a USB flash drive. Here I have one that's plugged in, and then we could access those files on here and copy them over. So here it says an external device was plugged in. So we can go into the files. Here we can see the external device, see if there's anything on there. And here we have a bunch of different files. So here I do have a pictures folder. I'm not sure if there's anything on here. Oh, look, here I found some old videos. So here's what I can do is I can take this whole camera folder and I can copy it. And then right here, we're going to add it to our personal folder, and we could add it into the photos group and copy to current path. And if there are any there already, we could have it skip, overwrite, or just keep, and then it will keep both files. So now I'm instantly copying files from here over to the NAS. So very simple. If you already have them on a drive, maybe you have a bunch of drives or you've backed up all your files when your computer runs out of space, you can just start plugging them in and copying them over. Now, another way in which you can do this is you could just upload files right from your phone, and that's all done back here on the main menu. We then have the sync and backup. So here it's saying, oh, we have your Pixel 9 Pro Fold. You can then turn on the automatic backup. And right here, I can enable now, and it's then going to start automatically backing up the albums on my phone. You can even go into the settings here and turn on some other things like backup at night or backup in the background. So you can even go in here and you can find other albums that may have not been backed up originally and back those up as well. So another simple way to back up everything on your phone. Now you can also go to your computer and back up files as well. We'll get to that in just a minute. The great thing about this is you can access it from your phone, your tablet, your computer, and other places using that remote link that it showed you at the beginning. But another thing is, what if I already have stuff stored online that I want to add to this? Well, going into the apps, you have the option for cloud drives. So I've installed this app to the NAS, and here, if you were using any of these, maybe you have Microsoft One, Google Drive, you can then quickly link your online account and have that then download right to here. So if we go into my Microsoft OneDrive, I know I do have some photos on there, but I want to delete them all off there and move them over here. So then I'm going to go through the process to sign into my account. Then I will need to accept the terms, and now it has been synced here. So I can open this up and we can see all the different things that I have on there. So in the documents folder, I then have the option to download it to wherever I want. So we're going to add it to a personal folder, and we could just select that folder and tap download. And now it's going to take all those files that are already online and then put them here locally so that I have access to them at any time. Very easy, very convenient to do. We've now been transferring files for a while. So if we go here under the volume, you can see that we have already used 86.9 gigabytes of data of our 3.5 terabytes or 3.4 terabytes that we have. So still plenty of storage, and you'll hear this kind of transferring. Now these are hard drives, so they do make noise compared to like a solid state drive. If you've never used one before, that's what you're hearing. So if we go back here, we can already see some of our content. If we go into photos, here are all the photos that have been backed up. So super quick, we now have everything in here. Now there's a bunch of tools in the Photos app. You also have the option for similar or duplicate photos, so it can automatically find some of those duplicates and help you quickly free up storage. So we can quickly enable that. And then there's a bunch of other intelligent recognition settings that you can have. So it can find people, text, duplicate photos, and scenes and objects. So that's really helpful to sort through and find photos. You can add them to albums, tons of things that you can do here in the Photos app. Now you also have the option for theater. So when you plug this directly into a TV, you can go into the theater and then you can send that video to play on your TVs. Now, if I go into theater, I've gone through and selected a specific file that I want to pull in. So all my family home videos have now been selected and can pull in here. And now you're gonna see a bunch of those recently updated files. Now, some of those are coming from my phone. Others are coming from old videos I had here on this flash drive. And if we load them up, we can click on one of them, tap play, and it's going to play right here. If it's connected to a TV, you're gonna tap right here, and then you can choose which one you wanna send it to, and it will send that video over. So here, simple security footage that I have, but right there quickly loads up and we can view that. So this is great because I can now quickly see all of our family home videos right on the TV. So we still have a few more things to transfer over here, and there are some other ways in which you can do this from the computer. But first we need to adjust some settings. We're gonna head into the control panel right here, and we're gonna go to File Service. So here we have a few more options. You can do SMB service, where this is going to turn on that so that you could then use this as a time machine backup. My Mac is then going to recognize this and be able to completely back it up as a time machine to here, which is really great, super simple. So all I need to do is turn that on to enable it. And then once it's processed, here's some other information about that. Then we can go down here. You do have the option for an FTP service. So after FTP service is enabled, you can access the stored data through an FTP client, logging in to UGOS Pro account. So I haven't used FTP for a long time, but that's an option. You also have the WebDAV service as well. So you can go through and turn that on. And then down here, you have some other discovery services. So you'd want to turn on the Bonjour for the time machine backup. And then you have the WSDD2 and the UPnP. I'm not a network engineer. I don't want to say that I understand much of this, but we'll see what we can get done today. So now that we have that, we can head over to the computer. I'm going to be downloading the NAS app for the computer that's available on Mac as well as PC. And then I'm going to link it because it's on the same LAN network, because this is plugged into my router and my computer's plugged into the router. It will quickly find it. I can then sign in, and now I have access to backup and do a few more things. So here at the computer, the first thing we're going to do is go into the UGREEN NAS app. So I already have it downloaded. And this is actually looking at the other NAS that I have. So we're going to switch the account, log in, and then since we're on the same network, it's then going to find it. You can tap more connections here if you need to. And then we're going to connect to this one. Log in. And now we are logged in. So here we have all the files easily accessible. We can even drag and drop files right onto the computer, makes it super easy. So our setup is complete, but we want to go into the control panels again, and we're going to go to File Service. And then here under SMB, we have Advanced. And so for Mac OS, we want to make sure that is turned on, and we're going to tap Save there. So now we can go down here and it says Mac Finder Access. So we can copy this and we can go into Finder, and under Network, there you can see we have our drive. So then I can connect to it this way. So again, need to log in. And now right in Finder, I don't even have to use the NAS app, but I can see my files on there. So there's the Samsung USB that's plugged in. I can browse through that. Or I can go to the personal folder, and then here are my other files that I have backed up. There's my Pixel Fold, There's my other photos and camera. So everything is on there. So now all I need to do to get all of my photos and videos that I've taken forever is copy them from my computer onto here. And I am gonna do a folder at a time because there's so much. So I have them currently on one online service. So I'm gonna download them, copy them over, and continue until I'm able to fill them up. It's gonna take a while, so might not actually do it in this video, but that is how I would get everything quickly over to my NAS. So very simple to do. So then I want to set up the time machine. So over here it says Mac time machine discovery is enabled. So we need to go to discover, and here we have set up time machine folder. So we're going to create a shared folder, and we can just call it time machine. And then where is it going to be? On volume 1. And we could set a usage limit. So if we want to have it restrict to a certain amount, maybe 2 terabytes, because that's how big my drive is on my computer, we could do that. So here it says we have 3,651 gigabytes available. So let's go ahead and do a 2,000 gigabyte limit, and we can create. And so here we have the ability to read and write. So we can turn those on, whether we want access denied, read and write, or read only. So we're going to do read and write. Okay. So here under share folders, we now have the time machine, but we need to close this and go back here. Then we need to check time machine and tap save. So now that has been set up, we're going to apply it. And now it's going to create that folder that we can then find in time machine. So now I'm going to go to time machine on my computer, add backup, and there we have a new time machine disk that we can add and set up. So now it's going to connect to that, and then directly start backing up everything right to that, which is great because I'm really worried about something happening here to my computer. I would then have all my files backed up right to the NAS without having to do anything. It's just automatically going to work. So again, we need to sign in, and here you have the options to encrypt. So here it is recommending that I have a bigger drive to back up, which it is capable on the DH2300. I would just need to buy bigger drives, set them up, and then I'd be able to back up to there. So here we can add our settings, tap done, and now it is going to start backing up. Pretty simple to get set up, and now I don't have to worry about any of my files getting lost. Now, other than Time Machine, there are a bunch of ways in which you can back up from your computer. So here in the NAS app, all we need to do is go to the sync and backup. And here you can see the overview of your device, but here we have a sync option. So you can create a task where you can have a specific folder constantly be synced to the NAS. You can have it do two-way sync. So anything you change on a computer is going to change over there. That's great for a dedicated one-to-one backup, and so that you always have those files synced. Now you could also use this where you have it syncing one way. So I could download files from the cloud. It will automatically upload those folders, and then I can keep adding more folders until they have all been backed up over to the NAS. Pretty cool. Then over here we have sync other UGREEN NAS. So in my DH4300 Plus video, I mentioned how it's best to have a NAS if you have one off-site. So maybe you don't have all your files backed up at home, because if your house burnt down, you would also lose those files. But if you want to have a dedicated remote NAS, this is going to be the best type of backup. So anything you do at home is also being backed up remotely, so that there's most likely going to be a backup available. So here we can choose sync to another NAS, and then we could go through and add the username and device address and everything so that it can then back that up to that other NAS. So you have that perfect backup at a remote location. That's the best way to do it. Most likely you're going to have 3 copies, your computer, your NAS, and then a second NAS. So that's how you can pretty much guarantee you're not going to lose any of your files. So great that you have those options. Then here you also have a backup and restore option. So you can create a backup of the computer. You can back up the UGREEN NAS. You can back up rsync server, and you can back up between storage pools. So you could have one of the storage pools be backed up to another drive. So a lot of options that you can do there as well. And then here you have a few other settings. So again, really a ton of ways to back up, but here I want to back up what I have on this computer. So I'm just going to open my Finder. And so here I have all the files, everything from last year. So looking at that, that's 226 gigabytes that I need to sort just from last year. Can't do all of my 17 years in this video, but just 1 year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Files, and here we're going to create a new folder. and we're gonna call this 2024 photos and videos. So now all I need to do is come over here to these and drag them right into that folder. And then it's going to start sending those over to the NAS. So very quickly, I have those backed up. Now, once that happens, I can then either use the computer here to sort through those, or I can even use my phone to just quickly organize those. And then once I'm done, I could copy them somewhere else. So very simple to get everything backed up in the right location so that you then have them on the UGREEN NAS and you can access them at any time, sort them, whatever you want to do with them. Very simple and easy to do. It has been about an hour and the files are already transferred here. If I go up to the corner here, you can see that its task it's working on right now, it's creating thumbnails for all of the files we've transferred. And that was 224 gigabytes of data, quite a bit to do. And it did a pretty good job with that 1 gigabit connection. So really good here. It's almost done creating those thumbnails. So now I have my folder here. So here, if we go back to our main folder, you can see all those there. I can just double click on here and now I can begin sorting all of my different files. So let's say I want to put the family photos into the month of October, just drag and drop, and it's going to give me this just to make sure I'm not overwriting something that might be there. So you have the options. We're just going to skip that and boom, sorted. Now I can go in there and begin all of my sorting. I have a lot of work to do. Heading back to the NAS app, you can see that we've currently used 463 gigabytes, so quite a bit, but still nowhere near filling up our storage, even at the low 4 terabyte drive that we have in there. Again, you can expand this all the way to 60 terabytes. If we go back to our files, again, all the files that we've been putting on the computer, they're all right here. I can go into my 2024 folder. There we can see that instantly things have been organized. If I want to organize anything on here, let's say I found a video that I don't want in there, I can easily copy it, move it, download it, or delete it, rename it. So all of those options here. And then if I want to select multiple, easily do that. And then you can even create different albums in the Photos app for specific photos that you may want to organize. So there is so much that can be done, and I love how it's all working together. Whatever device you have that can access this, it will all work together, and we can then go through and get all of our photos and everything else sorted so that I can then move on to the other many, many years of footage that I have. Now let's go ahead and jump to the TV and show you how you can access this footage as well. Now we can also access our DH2300 right here from the UGREEN NAS app. Here I'm using a Google TV that has it, and now I can simply log into my account. So here we can search over LAN, there it found it, and then the folder we added into the theater will be viewable on here. So now that we're logged in, we can see those same videos we saw earlier. Here's that driveway camera that I was watching of the robot mower doing some work. So very simple and quick to load up. Now, if you do have full movies that are digitized, you could put those on the folder. So here, when you go under the theater, it will be able to pull in nice movie titles and everything. So it looks really good. These aren't quite accurate because I don't have actual movies in here, but really quick and easy way to get all your entertainment right from the UGREEN NAS up to the TV. And so those are the main features I'm going to be using on my UGREEN DH2300. Very versatile, super simple to use, and I was able to get my computer backed up in pretty much no time, as well as my phone. And now I can sleep peacefully knowing that everything is being backed up and I have it secured here on my own at-home cloud storage. Now, there's actually more that you can do to expand what the DH2300 can do. If we go back into the app and head to the App Center, there are a bunch more apps here that I haven't tried out that would expand the features that are available. So you can go in, you can load all your music onto here and access it anytime from your phone. You have the DLNA features and just more services that you can discover and learn how to use to really expand what this can do. So if you want to pick up your own UGREEN DH2300, right now they are offering a 20% discount, which is going to be the same price that they have it for Black Friday. You can check out that link down in the description with that discount. Now, I want to know what else you would use your UGREEN NAS for. Please let me know down in the comments below, and let me know if you have any further questions down there as well. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.